ashram of Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji. Today is Sunday, May the 27th, 2012, and this is the second day of our retreat on the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are recording from Gurudev's ashram in Miami, Florida. And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji.
Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and delighter of his devotees. To that Krishna, adorations. Srimad Bhagavata Purana, and we are focused on the first spiral of Krishna's role. There are three main spirals, which means the entire spiritual movement is summed up in each spiral. The first spiral is Krishna's coming. Coming into your heart. And how Krishna is brought up by Yashoda and Nanda in Gokul. Presently, Krishna has destroyed so many demons sent by Kansa. Kansa is ignorance. Ignorance goes on creating obstacles on your spiritual movement. Every obstacle can come in a very pleasant way, or it can come in a nasty way. In a pleasant way, obstacle came to Krishna in the form of Putana. Krishna was still a baby. Putana, in a very delightful colors, came to nourish, welcome the baby, and as is the custom in India, in villages, the baby can be fed by many mothers. So Putana lifted the baby to feed the baby. But she flew up into the sky because her whole plan was to take Krishna away and destroy him. Because that was the command of Kansa. But Krishna began to suck out her very vitality. Putana, who was beautifully arrayed, suddenly became extremely ugly and dynamic. Demoniac, terrible. And they all found Putana laid down in a demoniac form and Krishna just playing upon her. They thought it was just an accident. The subtle point that is being brought out is that God within you is nourished by your devotion that brings out the sweetness of rasam, that's at the deepest level. Raso vaisaha, the self in you is pure ananda. So that movement within your mind that draws from ananda is the real milk that nourishes it. Putana's milk refers to the Vishaya, ras. Vishaya ras means same enjoyment you experience through your senses, through your mind. But it is mixed up with venom. It has become envenomed. How can it happen? Think of pure Ganges coming up and suddenly it passes through a certain rock and the rock has so many sediments of impurity. Same Ganges water, but when it comes out of it, it is poisoned. It will hurt you. Same way, the joy that is you are seeking, you are trying to derive that joy through Putana. And Putana kills you not once, twice, but goes on killing you. But if you have developed a spiritual aspiration, now Putana has a big problem. That spiritual movement is begin to draw out the poison and destroy it. And so Vishayaras turns out to be a terrible demoniac appearance. In Rama's story, this is illustrated through Shurpanakha. The pleasures of the senses presented them before Rama in the form of a wondrously fashionable lady with very sharp nails. Nails were like winnowing fans. Who said to Rama, "Why are you after this little human personality, Sita? She's just a..." I don't want to say things. Look at me, I'm the most wonderful one. Rama politely said, "I'm already wedded." But jokingly said, "My brother is not." So she immediately turned to Lakshmana. That type of finality there. Vishayaras, when your mind is after enjoyment of the senses, it doesn't have any serious devotion. It just shifts. Lakshmana also starts saying, "Why should you marry me? Marry Rama. He is after all the Lord. He can marry one, two, many. And if you marry me, you will be just be a slave." It went on. Until Rama said to Lakshmana, "Don't play with her." In brief, Lakshmana chopped off her neck, her nose, and her ears. And Shurpanakha immediately became terrible. That was the illustration in Rama's story. Here Putana plays similar part. A wonderful, very gentle and divine-looking personality comes, takes Krishna with tremendous affection. Everybody is so happy. But her idea was to feed Krishna with poisoned milk, nourishment that is blended with lots of mallows. But Krishna, on the other hand, sucks out her vitality. The very source of poison referring to negative karmas, that source comes from ignorance within you. Ignorance, when you try to attack ignorance, you are thinking of three stages: mala, vikshepa, avarana. Mala refers to gross impurities. Gross impurities are what people face day by day. Anger, agitation, annoyance, fear, all types of stressful functions of the mind. That's because you are drinking Putana's milk. The moment you turn your attention towards Krishna, Krishna destroys Putana. That's one event that I had not highlighted before. But now coming to the present stage of the story. Krishna was brought up by Nanda and Yashoda. They are not his real parents. Parents are a deeper level in the cave, in the prison. But Krishna is indirectly being nourished. He is growing. I'm referring to spiritual aspiration in you. And all this was taking place in Gokul. Gokul, the world of cowherds, cows, all relating to this plane of senses. But there comes a stage after so many demons having been destroyed. Krishna proposed to make a big shift. So all of them moved away from Gokul to Vrindavan, a forest nearby that abounded with lots of blossoms and flowers and lakes, abundance of beauty, an unimaginable sense of joy. However, not unobstructed. There were demons coming up again and again. Obstacles that you have to overcome. So, in Vrindavan, that's the stage in this story. That means a great change has occurred in your mental process, in your unconscious, in your subconscious. And now you are in a state of Shubha Vasanas, pure Vasanas. Your subtle desires are not after enjoying objects of the world or going after deluded pleasure. Your mind is now focused upon very divine. It doesn't know what it is, but it's focused on it. Krishna is fascinating, but they don't exactly know who he is. But somehow they are developing tremendous faith in him, that no matter what obstacle, he is going to remove it. Now I'm focusing on some major events. Every day Krishna went out with cowherd boys and roamed in the forests of Vrindavan. Krishna by this time had become adept also in flute playing. The music of his flute controlled the cows as well as captivated everybody. Cows represent your senses and normal functions of the mind that goes out into the world along with the senses. But now that your sense level is being touched by a profound inner joy. Therefore, the result is senses are becoming purified. You are gaining the quality of Dhamma, withdrawing the senses. the quality of allowing the mind to become relaxed, allowing the intellect to become purified. All that process is spiritual. That's what spirituality is. And Krishna is always attended by Balaram, most of the time. Balaram is willpower. Immense will begins to develop as your mind turns to God within you. You develop the strength to survive, to face challenges, to have patience during adversity, and to have the faith that you are going to overcome it. And you enjoy having emerged out of great calamity with wonderful face. Once it so happened that cowherd boys, now again, before I go further, let me give you another point. Now Bhagavata Purana builds up an amazing fascination experienced by gopis. Gopis are cowherd women in all ages. And gopas are cowherd boys. They all love Krishna. Bhagavata Purana gives colorings. Gopis love Krishna with amazing sweetness. It is dramatized, like portrayed like human love. Young women going after a very handsome man. But this is just a mystical, allegorical description. Because no way can you explain the nature of God's love unless we speak the language that you are accustomed to. Just like yoga tries to explain samadhi, but turns your attention to sleep. Sleep is far from samadhi. Same way, sentimental love arising between sexes, that is far from divine love. The idea is all souls are gopis. All souls are gopas. The distinction is created to give you a demarcation between two movements. Movement of vichar, thoughtfulness represented by cowherd boys, feeling represented by cowherd girls. They are not to be viewed as in a human way, allegorical. All that's dramatized by, rather not dramatized, but is an actual episode. Meera, a great devotee of Krishna, she happens to visit an ashram, and there was a ashram leader, the Mahatma, the saint, the guru of the ashram. The guru had pledged not to see the faces of women. You don't be surprised, even today there are religious systems. So, Meera had heard the fame of the Guru, and in her mind, she wanted to have his darshan. So when she expressed the desire, she said, please, my Guru does not allow. And Meera suddenly says, oh, I'm so surprised. I thought in Vrindavan, all are gopis, and Krishna is the only Purusha. But Guru is another Purusha. When that was reported to him, the Guru came out running. He realized he was dealing with a great Mahatma. The idea is all souls are like brides going after God, who is the only bridegroom. Again, even the Bible has used that. All churches are considered brides. And Christ has not yet been satisfied. How many brides you should have? Yet he was never not married. So try to understand the subtle point. And a great amorous description of divine love comes in Solomon's songs. The same sentiment is reflected in the Bhagavata Purana, which I'm leading you on to. But presently, it so happened that Krishna, along with the Gopa boys, came to learn that there is certain area, certain part of Yamuna river. Whoever drinks water in that area dies. Birds flying over it, they die. And Krishna knew the cause, and he wanted to remove it. The cause was that in that river there was a subterranean level. In that lived a great snake called Kaliya. Snake with many hoods. Kaliya had at least 101 hoods. Again, all these numbers that are given in the scriptures. The ancient Vedic blessing is Jive ma Sharada Satam. May you live for 100 years. And suppose you have more longevity than 100 years, what will happen? The 100 word is only a symbol. Go on living for 100 and 100 and 100 years. In order to show that continuity, Hindu tradition adds one after it. So 101, implying is ceaseless, continues. So, Kaliya Nag represents a very allegorical picture of your mind stuff. Ignorance, consider the mind like a river. This river has an undercurrent, an unconscious basis of ignorance. That ignorance is like a big snake with many hoods. So what happens? 5 aspects of poison enter your mental process. They are called kleshas, afflictions. Ignorance is the root affliction, called avidya. Next is called asmita, egoism. Asmita is ignorance, is simply means you don't know. Intellect is veiled. You are experiencing it, and it is very tangible in day-to-day life. You look into your mind and you have certain dimension within you. You know this much I know, a certain circle. But beyond that, you say, I don't know. But your don't know doesn't mean absolutely nothing. To give you a very simple illustration, look up to the sky. Say, what do you see? The blue sky. it is just like you say there is blue sky, and do you see anything else? Nothing. The blue sky is a symbol, similar process like you are experiencing ignorance. The blue sky gives you such comfort. The awareness of ignorance in you gives you great comfort. If you didn't see the blue sky, you will be feeling dizzy. Suppose it was all completely, you could see million miles up and find the whole earth around is just like a little ball, and yourself lesser than a worm. So I'm leading to understand ignorance is bliss. Therefore it's called Anandamaya Kosha. However, for spiritual attainment, you have to target that ignorance, you have to explore the immensity. You begin to understand you are not just a person who has come only a few days back, so many years back. You are a soul that has come through countless years, unimaginable past. That's one aspect of your understanding, breaking down ignorance. And you begin to understand. That's what the whole philosophy, Vedanta and all these scripture is, to allow you to break the veil of ignorance. You look at the world and see everybody is totally different people. But they're not. If ignorance is broken, they are all one. You look at the ocean, there are countless waves. But all the waves are nothing but the ocean. There are countless bulbs, but the electrical energy doesn't have all that variations. There are countless phenomena created by the sun, but the sun is the same. So that's called breaking down ignorance. But ignorance is last to break. It is the most powerful obstacle within you. Led by ignorance, every individual has developed a sense of ego, individuality. It is elusive. When you begin to ask, who am I, then you are in trouble. But the mind goes on creating a process that may inflate the ego, that goes on impacting upon the ego. You can become more and more egoistic. You may make your ego more rajasic. You can make your ego more tamasic. So the ego-based mind creates poison. Then the next is called a raga, attachment. Because you have ego, you have likes and dislikes. Experiences that develop when you are in a situation that you like, when you meet with people whom you like, when you enjoy objects that you like, they go on creating impressions in your unconscious. Because after you have enjoyed the object, you have created a wish. May I have it again and again? And where can you put that wish? The unconscious has a whole shelving device. It stores it. And that's called raga klesha, the affliction of attachment. Now, and to the extent you create raga, to that extent your mind is vulnerable to dvesha, hatred. To give you a very simple illustration, in every family There are moments of great joy, of warmth, display of raga. And there are moments of great quarrel. That intensity of raga and intensity of dvesha, you can't find anywhere else. With strangers, you don't go through that. Only with the loved ones, you have the opportunity to enjoy your bitterness. While you get involved with this type of raga-dvesha situation, karma builds up. Now you're following a process of illusion, trying to hold on to raga, move away from dvesha, trying to satisfy your ego, which you are not really, and trying to hold on to ignorance. It should not open up. There should be no telescope over it directed towards it. As a result, you are born. You are embodied. Being bonded with the body is just like the energy that is bounded by your cell phone. Your body is completely inert. Inert, lifeless. If life goes away, the body is just matter. And yet, through the body, there's such subtle wiring, subtle centers. The soul within you enjoys using your body like a cell phone. And becomes so attached that it can't let it go. It's a constant fear. That's called abhinivesha. The mind is constantly creating illusions of fear, led by karma, identity with the body. It's constantly creating raga dvesha, things that should not be always with. For example, food is wonderful, but after you are satisfied, you let the food go. In other words, you go on building these fear, hatred, attachment, intensifying your ego, and thereby maintaining ignorance. All this process are different hoods of the big snake. The snake is the main aspect of klesha, ignorance. And your mind is Yamuna river. It is a playground for Krishna. It was Krishna to get into your mind, swim in it, along with the gopis and gopas and so forth. But this big snake keeps it envenomed. Whoever gets into this situation of mind with kleshas dies, becomes subject to mortality. Imagine, see, I'm trying to unravel it. The normal reading, you would have read the whole story within this time. And gone further. And then she would have asked, what next? When is he going to meet Kansa? Now we come to the story part. Krishna creates a situation. Some house playing with ball or something, it drops into the river. That's the same area that was the poisoned area. And Krishna says, stay back, I'm going to get it. He goes on a big branch of a tree and jumps into the Yamuna river. The others are surprised. He's endangering himself. And they all wait with suspense. But with the pretext of trying to get a ball out of that river, he goes deep and he goes into the interior part where that Kaliya was perfectly asleep. And Kaliya had several wives. They were wives related to what's called mati, understanding. Understanding is defectless. It's just a radiation of awareness through a cloud of negativity. If Kaliya were to go, then all those wives, they are all divine. It's implying if ignorance moves away, all your radiations of understanding become clear. Keep that setting in your mind. Now, as Krishna enters, Kaliya wakes up. Because that is, and immediately Kaliya entwines him. That's the way pythons do. And tries to tighten him, squeeze him off his life. That's what kleshas do. The more as kleshas gather, they squeeze all the goodness out of a person. But as long as you have not come to Krishna's state, that means devotee of Krishna, you are going to be destroyed. I mean, you are mortal. But here in this case, Krishna began to fatten himself. And Kaliya began to suffer. Ultimately, he let go Krishna, and Krishna jumped upon his hoods. And Kaliya emerged from there. By this time, all people, his mother, his Yashoda, Nanda, and all Gopas, etc., Gopis, all came grieving. What has happened? Where is Krishna? And now they see Krishna coming up in a very wondrous spectacle of a very terrible snake. Hundreds of hoods. But the hoods provide for Krishna's foot. It's wonderful, pillow-like, velvety floor. And Krishna is dancing upon those hoods. And each hood of Kaliya contains precious jewel. Somehow the jewel leaks into Krishna's foot. The soles of Krishna become so reddish and beautiful. See, all this is described. And Krishna, who is just 12-year boy or even less, is dancing. During that time, the wives of the snake, they pray, "Oh Lord, please, have mercy." And Kaliya himself said, "Oh Lord, I didn't recognize you." Ultimately, Krishna asks the Kaliya, "You are forgiven, go into the ocean. Leave this Yamuna free." He is transported to the ocean, implying that as long as there is creation, Kaliya has to be somewhere. But whoever has come to the state of enlightenment will become free of Kaliya. Great descriptions are given, how he jumped from one Brahhu to another. He was actually dancing. The spiritual movement should be a sense of dance, working upon through the mind, realizing all that you experience is the magic of the mind, allowing the mind to undergo a tremendous change as the kleshas become neutralized. Raja Yoga uses the two terms, klisht samskaras, or klishta vrittis and aklishta vrittis. Klishta vrittis, same thoughts, thought waves that are neutralizing your delusion. Instead of creating egoism, it creates humility. Then it is aklishta, it is a neutralizer. To create thoughts that remove fear, that remove the illusion, I am the body. So you have created an aklishta state in relation to fear, in relation to dvesha, hatred, raga. Allow the reason, intellect within you to understand that hatred is not a positive virtue. Hating someone, holding on to animosity, seeking revenge, and even being frightened by somebody. All these are due to the fact that you don't know that you are supported by God within you. Not only supported, you are a ray of God. Not only you are a ray, therefore you are God Himself. God is the only reality within you. Therefore, because you don't know it, therefore the mind is creating this. So you should have a deliberate effort to watch your mind. Not to fight with it, but watch and begin to move the mind in a positive way. And that should engross your lifestyle. You don't count your success on the basis of things that have happened. That you can do that from practical point of view. But real success is how you are dealing with your mind day by day. Allowing the positive to gather more and more. As it gathers more and more, magic takes place. In your day-to-day life, situations change, circumstances become better for you. So much so you are not dependent upon the world. So, at the end of this story, Kalyanag, along with his wives, they worshipped Krishna and offered to him jewels, beautiful ornaments, divine fragrance, etc. And went away, leaving Yamuna absolutely free. Since then, for people in Vrindavan, Yamuna was absolutely kind of like nectar. At another occasion, a terrible fire threatened to destroy all the cowherd boys and Krishna, Balaram. And all were so afraid, they turned to Krishna and said, please, this is a forest fire blazing from all sides. And Krishna asked them to be peaceful, quiet, and he opened his mouth, sucked in all the fire. So allow the divine aspiration, the baby Krishna within you, to open his mouth. You are in a forest fire. Threefold fire threatens everybody, every moment. The fire, adhyatmikta, coming from your body and mind. It's a real fire. You can have all the security in the world, but you have no security of your own heart, your own nervous system, your own little head. One little brick on the head and that's enough. So that fire, it's constant concern for body, diseases, troubles coming from the mind. Then the other fire is the world around you. When you feel satisfied within your fire, then you turn on the TV and see how. So you hear, so many children have been killed, so many animals have been massacred. Misery after misery pours into your head. Adibhatik. But what I said is still very safe. You are just seeing it. But that is not really so. You mix with people, the interaction is always there with people. Not only interaction with people, interaction with germs. Flesh-eating bacteria. That's adibhatik. And that's enormous. Then there is adidavik. You never know what is going on inside the earth, in the depths of the earth. What volcanic eruption is cooking there? What tsunami is going to emerge? What hurricane is being planned? I will not elaborate. These are fires. If you allow devotion to develop in your heart, Krishna within you sucks in, cool it. Shanti, Shanti. That's the old style of saying cool. Shanti, Shanti. Modern style, cool it, cool it. I'm trying to give you some highlights. It's not possible to go through every point. Now there is a Bhagavata Purana gives you amazing description after these troubles were over. The times of deep, profound relaxation, an immense joy. It is joy that blossoms or blossomed on the trees. The divine beauty expressed itself through all the branches and leaves. Every object became a little mirror, glimpsing the glory of God. Think of the mirror. How does it glimpse? Tulsi Ramayana also has given that. Beauty of rains. If your mind is on a sattvic state, joyous heart, a rainy season is a very joyous season. You hear the frogs croaking and your mind doesn't say these stupid frogs. Your mind hears, these are Ved parties. They are aspirants reciting the Vedas. You see the peacock dance. It reminds you of how, whenever you have the occasion for a satsanga, if your mind is joyous, positive, virtuous, it dances. Rainy season is giving you that idea. Satsanga has come. Peacocks have unfurled their feathers. And so many little pathways that were vivid. You could recognize this was the path yesterday I traveled, talking about in a forest. In rains, they all move away. You can have a positive interpretation. So many people talking about so many different cults. Divine grace showers, all those cults move away. You see the rivers flowing towards the ocean. All streams blending together. So each season gives you a special impression, and every season is only an allegorical expression of what goes on into your mind. If mind is free of delusion, then it's described as autumn season, Sharad Ritu, sky unclouded, moon waxing bright, unobstructed, your bhavana feeling blossoms. The message is not just to wait for autumn and rains, but to realize every season. Divine glory explodes in every season, at every moment. You are sustained by God. It's the ego-based thinking that troubles you. Therefore, don't get into rush either, how to get out of it, because that rush aspect starts only through the ego. It's the ego that dupes you. When you hear good lecture or good inspired, the ego says, how quickly can I get it? You must realize now ego, like a fox, is deluding you. Because all the time you heard, time doesn't exist. So why are you rushing the matter? While I say all that, I'm also I'm not asking you to step beyond the practical reality. Feeling a sense of quickness, etc., is part of practical reality. But the practical details are resolved when your mind goes into higher level. Now, gopis, they become exceedingly fascinated by Krishna. Just, I will read out to you. Gopis say, "Oh friends, the only purpose of our eyes is to have a sight of Krishna. Other than that, what gain is there for us? That he is the fountain source. To see him going along with the cowherd boys, and the cows being led by him, and seeing him hold that flute on his lips, and getting his eye glances directed towards us. His beautiful complexion, swarthy, special kind of a blue cloud type, holding yellow apparel. With him, Balaram, fair complexion, snowy white, holding a blue apparel. All these are highly mystical. The swarthy complexion of Krishna implies all compassionate, just like clouds come into the sky, and a farmer who has waiting for rain to come for a good harvesting gets thrilled to see it. Moisture is everywhere, but when it comes into a cloud form, it has incarnated. God is everywhere. But there comes a time when you have a profounder experience of divine presence. And that's what you are invoking when you do your mantra. You meditate, God is as Krishna or as Rama. There is no insistence that you have to have always Krishna as the only. So Hindu religion recognizes all names, different gods. Each god is the God. And all other descriptions are they are rays of the same. So Krishna is the blue complexion. El perfecto. gopis, they are talking about their love for Krishna. And they are describing certain glimpses of Krishna's presence. They are saying how Krishna, every day he guides the cows and all the cowherd boys, and early in the morning with the soft rays of the sun they watch Krishna. His gentle, swarthy complexion. And he has pitambar, yellow apparel. That's the mystical color of gold. And it implies it's the color of intuition. It's the intuitive mind that looks at the world and sees nothing but gold. I'm not talking about the mineral gold. Talking about the highest value. Swarnim value, highest. Balaram, on the other hand, is snowy white, representing absolute sattva, shuddha sattva, purity, and he has neelambar, blue apparel. Snowy white, decked by blue, implies mind has been led to absolute sattva. Then what happens? It becomes devoted to God, who is blue Krishna. Therefore Balaram is his devotee. In a simple way, just like Rama was always attended by Lakshmana, Krishna is attended by Balaram, who represents immense will. If you are adopting the path of devotion to Krishna, your will has to receive the grace of Balaram. That means your will has to become very strong to pursue Krishna. In you, Balaram is playing the role of the willpower. Krishna is playing the role of your soul with all its glorious potency. And all your sentiments and all your thoughtful movements, they are the gopis and gopas. So where should you go to enjoy all that? Oh friend, the gopis are praising Krishna. The fame of Krishna has reached the Vaikuntha Loka, the highest region. I've explained to you before, lokas are different planes of experience. If you are experiencing things only in a sense level, then you are in Bhur Loka, earthly, mundane. If your experience is more vital, demonstrative, artistic, dancing, bouncing, and all that, now you are experiencing Bhur Loka, But if your experience is thought related, clarity of understanding, an insightful experience bursting through your mind, and you have discovered an amazing channel by which you can touch everyone without the nail bite. Without a scratch. That's what every flower does, you see, it blossoms. With the idea, let me touch everybody. And that creates the wafting fragrance. And so many people are touched. And they don't know where it is coming from. And the flowers don't mind. That's the role of every soul. Every soul has that potentiality to be united with God and thereby be a benefactor for all the world. Sarva bhute hite rata, involved in doing good to all living beings. Another statement is vasantavat lokahite charanta. If you have come to that state, you are like the spring season that enters a forest. Any enlightening movement is like you have invoked the spring season in the world of forest. But the forest, no matter how disarrayed it might look, once the spring season comes, every tree, even a small little one, starts showing little fingers and shimmering buds, blossoms, fruits. That is the picture of spirituality, the role of spirituality in the context of the world. Everyone has that potentiality to be that spring without springing out anywhere. Look at how the animals, birds, they all look at Krishna. How fortunate they are. Krishna is going there and they are going to look at him. And those deer, fawns, they will all enjoy looking at him. In their mind they see all that Krishna is doing and going to do. And the delight that everyone is experiencing. I said, oh friend, what to speak of these animals? Look, those gods, the apsaras, the heavenly beings, seated on the viman, aerial cars, they crowd the sky, looking at Krishna. And they suddenly lose their consciousness. Flying the vimanas and texting. Trying to picture Krishna. Forget about the vimanas. And they stay unconscious in the Vimana. They're so amazed to see Krishna in Vrindavan. Thrill beyond imagination. Try to bring to your mind that type of happiness that you can't imagine in the context of worldly achievements. And when they become intoxicated and unconscious, all their heavenly flowers that crowd their hair dripped out. And they fall on Krishna. And the cows, they hear his beautiful music. Both their ears perk up. Instead of grazing the green grass, they begin to adjust their aerials. And even look at their eyes. Tears begin to drip down from their eyes. The cows, big eyes. They become so fond of Krishna, they forget their own babies. Babies in turn are also in love with Krishna. They forget their mothers. When the babies drink the milk, they don't know whether to swallow it or to swallow it. And the birds, they are all captivated by Krishna's music. In fact, all these people who are enjoying, they must have been great sages in old times, or they are sages in the form of that they have assumed the forms of birds and trees and all. They are enjoying Krishna. And so far I have described the people who are alive. But don't you see, even rivers, they are not living beings. Even they are dancing. Whirlpools. The waves, gentle movement, catching a glow of Krishna. And every now and then they raise their waves to touch Krishna's foot. By doing so, they toss the lotus that was in them right at the feet of Krishna. And look at the clouds. They can't take their eyes off Krishna. They are hovering over Krishna wherever he goes, saving him from the strong rays of the sun. Whenever Krishna, along with Balaram, goes into that Vrindavan, cows being led by them, Krishna playing on the flute, a very ocean of love surges in our heart. And gentle rain comes down on Krishna. Those rains, through the rays of the sun, appear like soft little flowers, jasmine flowers, coming down on Krishna in a whole bunch. The whole world is offering their very heart and soul to Krishna. And look at this mountain Govardhan. Among all devotees, this Govardhan is the best, because it's on that mountain that Krishna goes in different layers of the mountain, taking the cows and cowherd boys. And look at the cascading waters coming in small waterfalls. Look at the trees. They are experiencing haripulation. Thrilled because Krishna is around them. That's the way, that was the gossip the gopis talked about day by day. There's not one day's job. And with this I'm going to conclude. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.